The funny thing about knowledge is that when you know nothing, you think you know everything. Right? You're the master of everything. I know that, I know this, I know that. The minute you start learning, I'm talking about knowledge and spiritual knowledge and wisdom, it's incredible how the more you learn, the more you know, the more you realize how little you know, how small you are, and what a speck you are in the universe. It's such a humbling experience that every time you go and see a spiritual master, there is something new that you have to learn. And even spiritual masters are always learning, because after all, we are all human. We can't know everything. Right? And the reason why in many of my talks and in the talks of many masters, the words come out right is that they're connected to the source, so they channel. They channel some sort of energy. And the words just come, they flow. And I was extremely anxious to get and see Eckhart last Wednesday. It was a very exciting time for me because for 10 years I've been reading his work and watching his videos and just listening to the person that he is, the sweet, gentle, humble, caring person who holds back nothing. His knowledge is for the world. There is nothing that you have to particularly pay for. It's all available online. There were many people that were complaining that we couldn't make it to the night center. The tickets were expensive. Yes. There are many people that make money off of such masters. Right? And it was all for some foundation, I think cancer relief or something they were doing. Part of your donation went there. And it's not an easy task to organize such a huge event with 4,000 people. And as I went, I was like, I don't want to be there because there were so many people. I felt a little claustrophobic. I have a little problem when I'm surrounded by people. I think it comes from meditating and being alone all the time. I'm not good when I'm surrounded by too many people. But we sat there and there was a 1 or 2 minute introduction, and this man dressed simply just comes onto the stage, sits down, smile on his face, and he just begins. And it just flows. It just flows. He knew what the message that he had to give. He was talking about ego sense. Okay. Different parts of your ego, the things that you want and the problems that you have with others. And I'm sure that talk will come online sometime and you all will get a chance to see it. But what I really took away from it was, there are times, we all are stuck in something. I felt that what holds me back and what, maybe brings a lot of feverishness is a need to be recognized. For my writing, for my talking, for my meditation, there is a need to be recognized and a sadness that it's not coming through to the level that it must come. But Eckhart said something. He said, if you want to be rich, it means that you want millions of others to be poor at the same time. Because you cannot be rich unless millions of others are poor. If you want to be beautiful and good looking, it means you're wishing that millions of others must be ugly. Because only when you compare yourself to the ugly are you beautiful. And if you want to be a celebrity, if you want success and fame, you are at the same time wishing that millions of others do not get it. And that rang a bell in my head. That is so true. That is so true. When you want things just for yourself, you are at the same time wanting just the opposite for the rest of the world. Just the opposite for the rest of the world. When you want to be successful, when you want to be all of those things, wealthy, all the things that are out in the world, right? Because the ego sense is really about the outside world. The ego is that part of your mind, of your intelligence, that creates identity, right? And your ego is what holds you back. It's the how dare they speak to me like that? I could never do this, and I could never do that. I could never, work like that. I could never work like this. I can never have this person come to my house. I can never talk to such a person. I could never live in that neighborhood. All those little things that we have that hold us back comes from that ego sense. It comes from that ego sense. And that ego sense is literally taught to us by our parents and our peers. You are baby, whatever, John. That's your name, this is your book, this is your. So that whole sense of possession is not there till the age of 1 or 2. It is curiosity, that children just are curious about everything, and they will take as much interest in a stainless steel bowl as they will in an expensive toy. In fact, the stainless steel bowl might be even more interesting because it makes lots of noise. Right? They don't understand that this is an expensive toy, this is bought from a supermarket or anything. And when visitors come and they play with them and they're happy and they're joyous, they will be equally happy. It makes no difference if that visitor has a bag full of gifts or not. Because a child doesn't understand possession, that sense of this belongs to me, it is my possessions, has not come in yet. Right? It comes in very, very much, and it is something that is taught. You'll notice that when you go and visit very small children, what they want from you is a cuddle, a hug, a love, some love. You go when they're a few years older, say, what did you get for me? You came without anything. Recently my nephew had a birthday party, and my little niece was terribly sad that she got no gifts, even though it's not her birthday party. But she's learned that if you give me something, I will be happy. If you give me something, I will be happy. That is ego, which is never ever, one of the key things about ego is that it is never satisfied. It is never enough. You can keep feeding it, but nothing is going to, we have a character in Mahabharata called Bhimasena. He's the third brother of all the Pandavas. And one of the problems with him is that he can't get enough food. He eats and eats and eats. So when people eat a lot, that's what we call him. We call them Bhima, because he's insatiable. So your ego is kind of like that. It can never be satisfied. It continually needs to be fed. And people that are very egocentric, they continually need the adulation, the people to say nice things about them, them to be the center in the room, center of all attention, no matter what they do. And this is actually the reason why a lot of celebrities go through psychological problems. It is not easy to be the center of attention if you're not ready for it. I get 5 emails a day, but I can tell you Oprah Winfrey must be getting 5 million a day. And that's just emails. It's emails, it's letters, it's people peeking into your lives, it's people wanting. So it's all of that adulation. You wanted to be the center of the limelight, and now that you're there, how do you handle it? How do you handle it? And then the ego says, okay, we got here, now let's move to the next level. To the next level, and the next level. And until you realize that that ego is actually creating a division within you, where it's me and mine. I, me, myself, right? How they talk about the three identities. Me, things that pertain to me, things that I see, and things that are mine. Things that are mine. Your relationship to all your possessions, be they family or friends or things. And when you develop awareness, when you develop this connection with yourself, you understand, or you can see how the ego is destroying you, how it is creating a division between you and you, because you have created a false identity. That is not really you. That is not you. That is something the world has fed you, the ego has held on to. And it is something that is false. It's created a personality that doesn't exist. I think I read somewhere that the word personae, comes from the masks that people used to wear during old Greek and Roman theatre. And each time there would be a different person by just putting on another face. Right? So that entire personality that's been created, that also isn't you. You are that shining light that allows you to see all these different manifestations of yourself. And it's very difficult for me to tell you where you is, and you will never find the real you. You will only be aware of what this is not. This is not neti, neti, neti. Shankaracharya says, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. Kind of like the way my daughter chose her career. I don't want to be a lawyer, I don't want to be an engineer, I don't want to be a doctor. And then she picked from what was left. Because once you know what you are not, then you can focus on what you are. And in that moment, when you drop the hat, we did a process in one of our courses where we removed our hats. We all wear a lot of hats, and that's all part of our ego, right? Part of our ego. You're the sister, you're the mother, you're the daughter, you're the friend, you're the cook, you're the public shopper, you're the car repairer, you're the tax writer, you're the sales tax maker, all of that, right? We wear so many different hats. And if you start discarding them, one by one. Think of all the emotions that arise in the day. Feeling used. Used by whom? By my in-laws. I'm not a daughter-in-law. Throw it away. What is left? Right? There is nothing left. As you observe your problems, your emotions, your challenges, you will notice that it all comes from an ego sense. And as you keep discarding your identities, I'm not the mother, I'm not the sister, I'm not the child, I'm not an Indian, I'm not the meditator, I'm not the book writer, I'm nothing. I'm nothing. You'll be left with nothing, and when you have that nothing, reach a state when there's nothing left, that is when you realize that you are everything. As long as we hold on to this world, as long as we try to get engaged in this world, as long as we seek identity in the world, there is misery. It is only as you discard, you get to your source, then you will find that whatever you do in life is pure joy. You engage 100% in life. Nobody is saying that you throw everything, I'm not sister, no, I'm sorry, I'm not a wife, I can't cook dinner for you, I'm not a daughter, mother, I'm sorry, I won't answer your phone calls. No. You don't find your identity in that. See the difference? It's not about not having relationships, it's not about not engaging with people, it's about not being invested in that. It is there on the outside your little shell, the little divider that we put, what do I call it? Deflector that we put up, right? It's outside of that. I am not that. And once you understand that I am not a wife, I am who I am. I am Renee. I am Inez. I am Malti. You will do everything without any gain or loss, effortlessly. And life has to be lived effortlessly. If there is too much effort, you're doing something wrong. You're stuck somewhere. See where your ego sense is stuck. See what's happening. And discard that hat. Throw it away. You are not that. But 100% engaged, 100% present. Everything comes into you and flows out through you. You are hollow, you are empty, just a shell. The emotion comes in, the emotion goes, the thoughts come in, the thoughts go. Everything in pure consciousness. It's all pure consciousness. Once you're connected, that is the secret to true happiness. Just presence, staying, and that's what Eckhart was, ultimately that is his message. No matter what the talk is, no matter what it is, practicing presence, just being, staying in the moment, like we spoke last time, and I speak every time. That is the only thing that matters, that you practice stopping everything, stopping the thoughts, stopping the emotions. It's like you take an axe and chop it all off, and you just sit. Feel the weight of your body. Observe your breath. And then you look around, you see lights. See the lights. But don't make any judgments about it. Hear the sound of the fan. But there is no emotion coming up. I am not saying I like the sound of the fan, I don't like the sound of the fan. No pleasure, pain. It's just listening, letting your senses work through you, and not engaging in the thoughts that come out of it. Thoughts come, thoughts go, but as soon as you break those chains, you become aware of what it is that you're stuck in, where you're stuck. Oh my God, it's this, it is this. I get that aha moment, and then there's a chance to change. There's a chance to move on. We are all stuck at different levels. No one escapes it. A few of us get minor breakthroughs, but it takes lifetimes and lifetimes of work to really get to that beautiful center. Until then, just remember that happiness is your birthright. And if you can't, get to all this consciousness stuff and, center and, peace and stillness and all that, just tell yourself every time you're bothered, every time you're stressed out, every time you're upset, stop and say, happiness is my birthright. That itself is enough.